enter or P for pan or I for invoice. And then you just follow it with the number and enter, okay?
Okay, so where do I go again here?
So on the top right in the search box, type the letter C, the number 1, and enter.
Okay.
All right, now you're on case number 1.
Okay.
Come down to the Tasks tab.
Okay.
Now, if this case, if you look just up, you're going to see that it's going to ship to the account on the 24th of June.
Mm-hmm.
That's based on our setup. So if you wanted it to be different than the 24th, you do that by moving the bubbles on the Gantt chart. You can move them as a group, for example. You can hold down your control key. You can click on the bubble that's in the laying acrylic line or row, drag it to the right, for example, and it will move the rest of the tasks, maintaining the spacing, all ahead one day. Did it work for you?
Okay.
All right. You can also, of course, move them one at a
Uh-huh.
time. Now, we spoke briefly about completing a task, which you can do from the case by going to the, you'll see there's a pencil to the right of the task, and then you can choose the person.
Clicking on the drop-down arrow there or the pencil there?
That you press on the pencil, then you will see the people in the drop-down, in the completed by, and then you can save it.
Oh, okay, so once they finish a step, that's what they do.
That's a way to do it.
Oh, that's one way to do it. Okay.
Yes. So now, another way, if they are working from the incomplete tasks report, it could be faster for them to do it from the dashboard. So first I'm going to show you the report. If you go to reports and you choose incomplete tasks,
so choose report.
do you see it? It's up at the top in the menu list.
Report.
And then
Task.
incomplete tasks is the fifth one down.
Okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, now your typical setup in here will be under status, on time, and late. The reason why is because when you are scanning, this allows you to see the cases that are due, that the technician would be working on today, and that are behind schedule. Under limit date, typically it would be today, but for our purposes today, I'd like you to choose forever no limit because we have two cases in there, so in order to see some data, that'd be faster.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Then you would typically choose in the task section, new page for task, and then I'd like you to press run.
Okay.
When you do it, it splits these by the department and then the task. So you are seeing the details about each of the cases, and as you follow the row to the right, you'll see the end date, and then you'll see the ship to account date. So this is what keeps work on time throughout the production process. And you will notice the last task, quality control, typically has the same end date and ship date because that's the last task in the process.
Okay.
All right. So now what you're going to do is if a person is working with this report, we have two options on marking tasks complete. One can be out of order. The other would be in order. So I'm going to show you this so that you are able to decide which way is faster, because that will impact your decision some on the permissions. So go to Dashboard on the top left, go to Overview, come to the right to Actions, and choose Complete Tasks. Now, it's possible that you're not interested in using a scanner. If you have people working from home, you may not, want to go to that level. In that case, the workflow would be to, on the right, select the user.
Okay.
On the left, select the task.
Okay.
Then you see the cases in a list that are being completed.
Okay.
So it could be faster for the technician to do the steps like that and then check the cases that they've completed that step in.
Oh, okay. Because if they're working on a task step, they're doing multiple cases at the same time or something. Or...
That's right.
Okay.
So if you were to check the box, like if you were to choose a task, and then whatever case happens to come up on that one, if you were to check the box, then you will see where it moves it to the right. You will, if it is not allowed to be completed out of order, it won't let you. So if that happens to happen, I'm not sure which case you've chosen, but you might experience that. It's because we've got things set to complete in order.
Oh, okay. And
that is a global setting that we can turn off, and that allows them to scan out of order, or it can be done by the task.
Could we set it so that if they complete something with other things undone before it, it automatically completes the ones before?
No, it's just not allowing. Out of order scanning means if wire bending hasn't been scanned, it will allow me to scan layering. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that it's going to go and complete the rest as if I did them.
Okay. So this is, so they would need to be signed in as into the LabNext to complete it like this.
Yes, so that's where permissions come in. They sign into LabNext with their user, and then they come over here to complete the task.
Okay. Now, if we did use scanners, then they wouldn't need to do that. They could just do it through the technician screen.
No, they still come to this window. But if they're using scanners, the typical selection on the top right would
Yeah.
be to put a check in the box that says autocomplete next task on key search, and then you would put a check in simple mode. We would be able to print badges from the user window. They would scan their badge, which would change their name, and then they would scan the cases they completed for the first task. And then the work would move on.
Now, do you have a sense if that which would simplify and make it easier for them?
Well, because your people actually do all the steps,
Yeah.
I think it should be, I'm assuming that you're going to have a conversation with them about the reason why you've chosen the tasks you chose in the setup. And it's basically to allow the DDX user to see where it is in the production process.
Right.
It's not really so much for them as it is for your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they will, that is, let's say that day one, if they do actually work the way you've set it up, which is a day for each task, layering, wire bending, quality control, for example. If that does happen day one, day two, day three, then it makes perfect sense that they would scan at the end of the day the cases that got those steps done.
Mm-hmm.
Or however they want during the day. But so am I helping you with this answer?
Yeah, this is good. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So that is, if they find it faster just to find the case and check it off, that's fine too. I don't know roughly how many cases they're handling in a day. If this window would be faster than finding the case. It seems this one would be faster, but I don't know.
Well, they do, let's see. Well, they do 4 to 5 cases. They can do 4 to 5 cases a day, I think.
Okay, and so in that 4 to 5, do they basically handle them at a certain step, and then the next day they do the next step, or is it, where they might do a certain set of steps in the morning and a different set of steps in the afternoon, for example? Because this case, it seems that this complete open tasks window would be faster than going to each case. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And do you think that they would be scanning in order? Because if they are, then a scanner can be faster. Otherwise, if it's just faster for them to look at the report and pull up the case number, because how do you send the cases to them? Will you be printing a work ticket and putting it in a bag to send it to them? They will see the task on the work ticket.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna give them, well, we have open dental, so I was thinking we would submit the lab prescription through open dental and then just give them the model, and then so they'd get the model and then they'd look it up and print out the lab slip.
Okay, so they're printing a lab slip, so they're not going to be printing a work ticket from LabNext. It doesn't sound like.
Or a work ticket, or we could, when we type in the lab slip in open dental, we can print it off and send it with the model. And so all they'll need to do is go in and complete the steps. Right?
Because the tasks will show on the work ticket they can work from the incomplete tasks report, whichever one you think is going to be better.
Yeah, show me how to go to a work ticket.
All right, so let's do that. In the search box, let's do C1 and enter, so you can get out of whichever windows you're in. When you're ready, you're going to go to the Actions menu on the top right, and you're going to choose Print Work Ticket. When you do that, you're getting a print preview of the work ticket.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you want to print it, you can. Then I'm getting ready to show you the design features on the work ticket. So sometimes printing it helps to visualize when you come to the next window where you're seeing the design phase.
And then I see on the tasks on the right has laying acrylic, polishing and finishing, quality control.
Correct. So if they are working with a case, they can find the case number and they can complete it from the tasks window, or they can use the barcode that's at the top, and they can, working from the dashboard, overview, actions, complete tasks window.
Okay.
Or they can do a mix, scanning and checking, it's kind of the way you think will be the best.
Yeah, so we could start with them just putting in the case number or whatever, but over time, if they want to start using that barcode, we can do that anytime.
Of course, that's exactly right. And if they like working with a series of checkboxes, like I've done the layering of acrylic on these 5 cases, the dashboard, overview, actions, complete tasks, then finding the task layering acrylic, and then just checking the box to the left of the pieces I just completed can still potentially be faster. And you can still work from that window. So whichever one seems more friendly.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Now, I was thinking you didn't want your pricing to show if they were to use this work ticket. Is that true?
Yeah, so why does this say 640?
Okay, so let me show you how to use this out to get. So maybe I should double check. Are you questioning why the price came out like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did much.
Yeah, I thought I put in 160.
Okay, I understand what's happening now. We probably have that set to count by teeth as opposed to count by arches. So let's go have a quick look and we'll do both. So if you are looking at the print preview, press cancel and then hit back to get back to the case.
Okay.
Now we're going to go to settings, case settings, procedures, lab procedures, and in the search box on the left under the word procedures, type upper, and then you will see your upper class plus sagittal primary teeth. Press edit, and you will see that there is a unit count section a unit count field in the display section set to count by teeth. You will switch that to count by arches or always one. And then you will save at the bottom. And then the result will be that you will be charging for one no matter how many teeth are entered.
Yeah, right. Okay. And this is only an upper appliance, so it's not like you can do one of the, well, yeah, you can't do one of these on the upper, one of these on the lower. So I kind of need to do that with all of them then, right?
Yes, you can. And it can be faster to do that step from the multi-edit window if you want to.
Okay, so go to multi-edit. Okay, units. Okay. Where it says units?
Yes, in the display section. Oh, on multi-edit? Yes, where you see the unit. That's where you would set it to count by key or count by purchase.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, and save it to bottom. Now, the work ticket design is under settings, key settings, procedure, in the general tab, you should see work ticket either at the far right or in the second row.
So go to settings, case settings.
And then you will see work ticket either far right or in the second row.
Work ticket under general.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, okay. And this is to change how that looks.
That's correct. So the first column is every element that could potentially be on the work ticket.
Okay.
Then the design space is under the left and right column. You can move elements around by, if you click and start to drag them. Checkboxes control what shows within an element. So in the work requested element, for example, you can uncheck the pricing. So that's how you can control the size or shows. To get rid of an element, like components, for example, you can use the minus symbol in the upper right of the element.
Okay, one second, Terry. What is it? See pricing? Okay, so I see elements, and they've got all the things here. What is it? Oh, pricing list. Okay, so I just uncheck the little pricing box.
That's right.
Oh, and there's a pricing under work requested and a pricing under components.
You could get rid of components altogether without using them. That would be the minus in the top right of the element, and that'll get rid of it. So it's not on the work ticket at all.
What are components?
All things like gold screws or teeth, or it could be, it's an additional billing item, is what they're separated out as opposed to being in the procedure list. They can be separated out into a separate list to be chosen.
So it's almost like, because my appliances are pretty similar. It's like the Adapt just basically has landing gear on it. So I could almost have that as an option on the appliance. And then put it as a component.
For billing, you want it would be for billing. So you can price it within the procedure. So if landing gear is chosen within the procedure,
Yeah.
They wouldn't then it can price the landing gear there without having to add another step by choosing a component.
Okay. Okay. I think
so. When you were setting up your your custom attributes, you probably noticed where you can price those.
Yeah. And I put them on 0.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, did you need any help with any of the data entry side? We've went over the data entry. We've went over how to change the tasks. You probably noticed that when you can edit the procedure to change the attribute choices.
Right. Yeah. I did all that.
Okay, good. So then now we've talked a little bit about some of your workflow. The final workflow thing that I like to introduce is when the cases have to actually leave the lab. So everything about the day-to-day work happening throughout the lab is what the technicians focus on. That's the incomplete tasks report that we saw. When you go to the dashboard, if you would, dashboard and overview, on the lower left, the at a glance section shows the widget cases shipping today.
Okay, where's that again, Terry?
On the dashboard.
Dashboard.
And overview,
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
you're going to do the at a glance on the lower left, cases shipping today.
Okay.
And there's a little gearbox in that widget.
Yeah.
If you would choose maybe this month so we can get some cases in there.
Okay.
This is designed now for the person who's going to ship the cases to the doctor. So they will be working from here to get a list of what cases have to leave you today. And when they press on the number that will be showing there, they're going to see what has to leave you today or it's behind.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And they will have the cases there with the ship date in the lab ship column. So that matters to the person doing that sort of job.
Okay.
Okay. So now the final step is the invoicing. When you go to your number 1 case, on the top right, press close invoice.
Okay.
In this is a good one to practice changing the price. So you can leave the units as 4 and change the price to $160.
Oh, okay.
Then you can come down, you'll see invoice message, you'll see where the invoice date is, and then you would put a check in the box to print after the invoice is saved, and then you will press confirm on the lower right.
No, why do you have to print? That's just if you want to print it, right?
Correct.
Oh, if we're gonna send the invoice with the case.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So after you press confirm, your record now, you're on the invoice page. If you did check the box, you would have seen an invoice preview right away. If you didn't, you will see that you're just at the invoice page where you could go to actions on the top right and print.
Yeah.
If you did need to print. Now the idea here is that there are 2 sides to every record, the invoice side and the case number side. So you can edit an invoice under actions until it's been either paid or on a statement. Okay? Editing an invoice has to do with things like the pricing, the date, invoice message, something like that. If you forgot to add a procedure, like a shipping charge or a rush charge or something else that needed to be charged for, you can do that after invoicing by going to the case number side of the record and going to Actions and Add Procedure. Then it will ask you to update the invoice, and when you say okay to that, the invoice then is updated. So you don't have to delete the invoice in order to make that sort of change.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's how you can edit the invoice for pricing or adding a procedure or changing keys or shades or some other sort of thing that may need to happen.
Oh, yeah, so we can add additional lines, change the price, add some notes, and then hit save. Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, good. So now we have 4 different styles of invoices. If you did happen to print, then I'd like you to do it, at least to get it to come up to the screen
Mm-hmm.
so that you can see the choice. And then you, then I want you to just close that print preview so you're back to the invoice. Now we're going to go to Settings at the top and Lab Details. Then we're going to go to Preferences.
Settings, lab details, preferences. Okay.
All right, now in the Case Preferences section, I just want to draw your attention to the Allow Out of Order Scanning checkbox that we talked about a minute ago.
Okay.
That's where that is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you're going to go to the come down.
So that's where they can click quality control done before the acrylic is done, or stuff like that. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. But then they have to click them all complete before they invoice the case.
No, if they invoice the case and they haven't scanned, it will let them invoice it. There is no thing stopping you from invoicing the case if they have not completed it.
Okay, so if it's invoiced, it'll show complete.
No. Invoicing is billing and is not about what the technicians have completed or not.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if that matters to you, that the technician has finished the scanning, that would be part of the person's job who is invoicing the case to make sure all the tasks are scanned before they invoice. If that's
Okay.
as a double check to make sure that that job is done.
Yeah. Okay. And that'd just be part of their workflow.
Okay, good.
So, okay.
Now, still in this preferences section and lab detail, when you come down to invoices and statements, you're going to see an invoice template.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you have the 4 choices. So we have, if you were to switch it to classic, you will see where you get check boxes to give you additional controls over what the invoice looks like, but there is no designer for the invoice. It's just working with the style and then some small changes that you can make. So if you would like to make a choice and then save at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
then go to the search box on the top right, type I1 and enter, I for invoice, the number 1 and enter. that will take you right to the invoice, and you can go to Actions and Print and see what this style looks like.
Oh, okay. All right. And I see all the little check boxes. So I see all the check boxes next to I see the 5 open check boxes, but I guess I can't quite read what that says on those.
So, sorry, which invoice template are you in?
I'm on the classic with the quality control.
So you chose. Oh, so are you talking about you can't read what the quality control choices are? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I don't see what the difference is on those 5 boxes.
on the size box, as far as what's the headings on those, is that what you mean? Do you want to print it to paper to make it easier for you to see?
No, I can do that later.
Okay. So what I was talking about was in lab preferences, was what sort of things you were interested in, you know, do you want the case number to show? Do you want, anyway, so.
Okay, so it has invoice number, case number. Work requested. And I get a settings, lab details, preferences, and then 4 section label left. All right. Okay, so let's just move things around a little bit here then. Huh?
Okay, so the final thing then for us this morning is going to be permission.
Okay.
Now, when you are, I want you to go to settings and users and edit user next to your airway specialist.
Okay.
Now, what I generally suggest that people do is to behave as the technician. So log out as yourself, log in as them, and then work with things that you want them to, that you want them to see or not see. And you have already made some choices. I was wanting to draw your attention to a couple of things in the settings menu.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that you probably wouldn't want them to be able to edit users.
Right.
And you potentially wouldn't want them to add users or modify some of your setup.
Right.
Those would be a couple of things that you might want to turn off. So for example, in the work ticket, we made it so the pricing didn't show. So that's why sometimes people don't want them changing those kinds of things. So this would be some things that you might want to consider. Then in the report section, you may not want them to view like a sales report or a money owed report or a pay per task report as examples of those.
Where are you looking on? It's under reports.
It is.
Okay.
So those would be a couple more things that you might want to turn off. And then when you save that, you will be able to log in as them, work through what their day might look like to make sure you're happy with what they can see or not see.
Yeah, so I'm kind of taking off payments. I think this is just going to be the lab thing, they're not collecting payments, they're not doing any of that.
Correct.
So all the sales type stuff, taxes, the technician pay per task report. What about that one?
I don't know that you've put any of the pay stuff in it, but this question has more to do with, do you want them to be able to run a report about what they've done? And they would be able to see each other's information. I don't know if that matters or not.
Yeah, I think it's probably better if they just see their own.
Well, you can't control it for them to just see their own, so you probably would uncheck it so they can't see it at all. And then you could provide it to them.
Okay.
But usually what people do at the beginning before they make a decision is have uncheck the ones they are certain about and then have a look at the others to make decisions.
Okay. So I guess on this one, I wouldn't want to have anything with invoicing. So do I have everything as far as invoices and invoicing and all that taken off of this?
So once you press save, I can see it.
Uh-huh.
And then I can have a look.
Yeah, I've saved. Yeah, okay.
In the cases section, do you want them to view the estimated case value? That's what's going to show on the main screen for them.
Okay, where's that one? Do you see that, Adelaide?
That's in the cases section.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, yep. Okay. Thank you, Terry.
That's fine.
Now, okay, go ahead.
Some of the choices at the top, like managing revenue centers, viewing revenue centers, managing components, is dealing with the setup in the background. So that's something you can think about as well.
Where are
Whether
you
you
looking? Where are you looking on that?
So where I am right now is in the first grouping called cases,
Mm-hmm.
and you will see, whenever you see the word manage, that's like a setup. And when you see view, that's where they could go to view them.
Oh, okay. So maybe take off all the manage things.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. What are the locations? Okay.
Location where you can scan work in an area in the lab. So at this moment, locations is not a thing for you because the technicians have the work at their home. That might be something you might do if you ever bring everybody in-house and start them to work, and then locations might become a thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So I just saved it again.
Okay, good. Now, all right, now, the next one I think you might want to consider. Coming down to the settings again.
Okay. Settings. Okay.
I don't know for sure if you want them to manage lab details or modify your setup. So modify like the departments, the procedures, the procedure characteristics. Those are all the setup things that you were working on this past weekend. I don't know if you want them to modify that.
Oh. Okay, so modify procedures.
I'm wondering about that, if you want them modified.
Oh, right. Manage lab details. Accounts where it says, so should I take off for procedure characteristics, we'll take that off. I'll keep, modify tasks, I'll uncheck that. So how about, manage display categories? Is that fine?
So the display categories, that was where you have two display categories where you grouped your procedures into two display categories. So if you want them to be able to do that, but that's all part of the setup. So I'm not sure.
So maybe just take off all the manage ones.
Managing instructions is preferences.
Okay.
Canceled case reasons is that one is, so these, where you are headed with your thought process is right. This is all set up, okay?
Yeah.
So if you don't want them to set up, like if they have a question, they would need to reach out to you, for example, if it had to do with putting in preferences.
So I could just take off all the manage ones.
You might want to.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'll be able to, you're getting closer to the ones, you have a couple manage choices in the reports section. And you're getting pretty close to being ready to save this and then to experiment with it.
Okay. And I kept the modify ones under settings. Do you think that's fine?
I think you are to a place where you're pretty much ready to see them. There was some things that I was wondering, but you handled most of the things that I was wondering about.
Okay, no, this is great.
So then, this way, what you will want to do is feed them and do a couple of things that, you know, think about their workflow, think about how, you know, just kind of look around and see if you're comfortable with what they're able to do and see.
Okay.
So now I do have another appointment, doctor.
Okay.
I'm wondering what we can do now. You really have seen everything and done everything. Although I'm sure when you get ready to put this into practice, there will be more questions. So in your kind of strategy here, sometimes what people will do is they will start to enter real cases that are going to go out the first of the month or after as a way to transition from whatever you're doing to the new system. Is that something you've thought about, or how were you supposing you were going to sort of jump in to use Latinx?
Well, we're not using anything right now, so I just thought as soon as we're ready, like today or tomorrow or the next day, when we get a case, we would just put it in. So I think I need to figure out how to put it in, because Ed was saying that we put it in through Open Dental, and so I guess I want to get that part figured out. And then whatever I need to know about DDX. So I think Open Dental and DDX are what I need to figure out.
Okay, so now what you're doing is you're putting on your doctor hat, is what I'm understanding, right? Because the DDX is, I can show you the DDX with your test account, but if we're talking about Open Dental, I don't have any expertise with that. So mine is more on the lab side. Jeff Krause is on our team and can help you with the doctor side.
Oh, okay.
Is that kind of where we're going?
Yeah, or an assistant or whatever, I guess so. Now, can I print an invoice from this?
From Latinx?
Yeah.
Sure. If you go to the search box on the top right, type I1 and enter.
I want to enter. Go ahead.
Actions and print. So that was the part where we were looking up the invoice style under lab details and preferences. And then once you settle on one, then you can print it. Once you press confirm, it can either bring up your print preview window automatically, or you can come back and batch print them, or whatever you're.
Oh, okay. So it's not bringing up any invoices. So I think I've disabled that then. Is that right?
And now, if you are still Oh, unless you've logged out and you're behaving as the technician.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, then you just have to log out and be yourself again.
Yeah.
And then you can go to I-1 and enter. So if you want your tech, maybe what you're saying is, I want my technicians to be able to print these invoices.
Well, because so now I get it why some labs send the case, but they don't have the fee on the lab slip that comes in the box. Now I finally understand that. So, but I'm thinking that we don't necessarily need to send any invoice. I think it's fine.
Okay. So does the technician send the invoice to the account, or do they bring the case back to you?
Yeah, they just bring the case back to me. They usually don't do any kind of invoicing or anything.
Okay, so if they're bringing the case to you, then you would be logging in as yourself to do the invoicing and then to print it.
Yeah, right. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then I am going to have to run. I am happy to do this again tomorrow morning if that would help you, or what was your thought then?
Yeah, tomorrow morning sounds great. And
Then do you want me to get Jeff to reach out to you about open dental, or I can show you the DDX side on your test account as far as inviting a customer and what they're going to be able to see and do. But when it comes to the open dental side of things, that's going to be Jeff.
oh, okay, yeah. So tomorrow morning, let's do the DDX, and then if I can
Okay.
connect with Jeff on the open dental workflow, and then I think we'll probably be good.
Okay, good. So I'm going to send an email to Jeff and to you so I can get the two of you connected as far as open dental is concerned. And then you and I will talk again. Do you want to do the same time we did today?
Yeah, that sounds great. Uh-huh.
Okay, okay, very good. So I am going to call you at your 6 my 9 tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Terry. And I'll just wait to get an email or phone call from Jeff.
Yes, I'm going to put an email out to you and to Jeff and ask Jeff to reach out to you.
Okay, super. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, take care.
Okay, bye.